Well, it's been pretty nasty the last few days. It cleared up yesterday afternoon enough that we got out and finished the boards on the gable end overhang, and I put my first board up that'll go underneath the course of the shingles. But normally you would put one row of shingles up and then another row of shingles over the top of that to cover over the joint between them and to kick it out, the bottom of it out. But I put a piece of lap siding up there instead. Well, I've come in the hangar here and I'm getting the shingles set up. Decided that the gable end, the upper gable end on the second floor, I'm going to finish it out in shingles. So that's what I'm working on here now. I milled these shingles up several years ago, many years ago, on the sawmill, and I had them bundled up and stored away. So anyway, I got these out a few days ago, a couple months ago actually. Got them out, opened up, and went through them all. Made sure they got all dried out and everything and cleaned up. And now I'm putting stain on them. Some of these we're going to paint and some of these we're going to stain. Well, this is that natural stain that we used on the timbers and stuff for the porch. And these are some red cedar shingles. This is what it looks like stained, and this is what it looks like natural. And of course out here where it's been weathered a little bit, where it's sticking out of the bundle a little bit, it turns gray, which is the natural color of that. And hopefully by staining these, that'll keep them this color like this. But this is the red cedar. This is all red cedar here on this pile. Then I've got some yellow cedar shingles. Well, there's a pile of raw yellow cedar shingles here. And this is what they look like, fresh cut. And of course this has got weathered a little bit here. Actually, here's the silver color here that they are when they get out in the sun. Eventually they'll just turn black. I've got a few of them spread out on the sawhorse over here, and these have been stained. And this is what they look like. This is the contrast between the natural color and the stained color here. That's just like what the timbers and boards that I've got for the porch look like. Well, here's the difference between what red cedar in its stained state looks like and what yellow cedar in its stained state looks like. I'll let these dry overnight, and then I'll bring some more out and stain some more. And like I said, I'm going to alternate, maybe put a row of painted ones up to separate out the stained ones. Some red cedar and some yellow cedar alternate in rows or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be yet, but it'll be interesting. Well, it's a beautiful day today. I'm going to see if we can't get some more shingles put up there on the front of the cabin. Hopefully we can get that closed in today, but I'm not sure. We worked on it Friday, had an open day, and I got 2 rows of shingles up on Friday, Thursday I guess, and then it rained Friday. And it was supposed to rain yesterday on Saturday. It turned out to be a little better day yesterday than we thought it was going to be. I got out and was going to try to get some more shingles on there, but we didn't have them all painted. So we got a row going up there now that's going to be green, and then we got a row of yellow cedar that'll go natural above that, and then Judy wants to put red on top of that in the peak. Like I said yesterday, I was going to try and get some up, but as I was wandering around the place, I found that my roof over my basement was leaking, so I had to work on that and get that fixed. Anyway, Judy will come out here. She's painting some shingles right now. She'll come on out and lift me up in the Bobcat, and I'll get up there and start laying another course.
the red light means it's on?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see any numbers counting.
Well, making progress. I got a row of green shingles up there. I still have to trim some up to fit underneath the window. Then I got 2 more rows with 6-inch reveal of the yellow cedar. All the green ones are yellow cedar too. They're a pain in the butt because that wood splits every time you drive a nail into it, so I had to drill all the holes and cutting the short lengths there like for underneath the window, and the ones that are angled and against the soffit, those had split too. So anyway, they were kind of a pain. Judy wants to go the rest of the way up with red ones, and she's got a bunch of red ones painted, so let's be the next thing we do, I guess. We'll make a board to go up on top of the window for the trim to fill it out. Well, I'm going to take a break now, have a little bite to eat, see if we can get it done before the sun goes down. Anyway, I think that's going to look pretty nice.
The fuzz is gone on the lens.
What? It's going to go forward on its own here anyway. Well, I just got finished with the last shingle up there. We had 2 shingles left. Anyway, we still got some work to do trimming that out. I got to trim around that window yet and trim around the junction there between the eaves and the shingles and the gable end, and then put a barge board, a new barge board out here on the end of it to dress that up. But it looks a whole lot different than torn up tar paper flagging around. Like I say, I just got done. It's 5:30 and it's just about dark, getting dark now, so done just in time. And the forecast is for it to pour down rain tomorrow, tonight and tomorrow, so so far it's not looking too bad. It's still clear out. I don't see any clouds yet, but it doesn't take very long for the clouds to form up in this country. So anyway, I think that thing looks pretty good. It'll look better when I finish trimming out around that window, but I'm not unhappy with it. Well, it quit raining a little bit today, so thought I'd come out and get a little bit of work done. Take another look here at the front of the cabin and the work I did up there on the gable end. Well, I still got stuff to do on it, but obviously it's not going to get done here in the near future. It was heavy rain overnight. It's let off a little bit right now, but the forecast is heavy rain for the next 3 or 4 or 5 days and high winds. Outside work is on hold for now. Anyway, like I said before, that thing looks a lot better than it did with the tar paper torn mostly off of it and flopping in the breeze. Wife is pretty happy with that. A couple more things to do up there to finish it out on the gable end, but a house wrap is protected now from the elements, so shouldn't have any problem with it deteriorating anymore. Well, I worked on that till about 5:30 last night. I think I had 2 or 3 shingles left that were painted. We had the yellow cedar, red cedar down there on the bottom, 2 rows of that, and then yellow cedar, 2 rows of that, with green trim in between the 2 of them. And the top of the yellow cedar, another green trim, and those were yellow cedar too, but they're just painted instead of stained. And then on top, right up in the peak, is cedar, and those are painted red. And those were a lot easier to put up. The yellow cedar was a pain to put up because it was splitting, so I had to pre-drill all the holes for it to get it to nail up. And that included the ones that were painted green. But when I went to put the red ones up there, they went up pretty good because that was all red cedar, and the nails just went in there. They didn't, any of those split any at all. So that went up a little faster, except that they all had to be trimmed up. Of course, you have to trim them to fit in on the eaves there, and then they had to be trimmed to fit around the window. I guess that required a little bit of work too. Anyway, that is done for the time being. Who knows when the next chance we have to do anything outside is. While I get ready to finish that up, it'll only take me a few minutes to finish that up. I'll run some short courses of green underneath that window and then run the trim around it. I've got to mill up some trim work to go between the gable end there and the soffit and the new barge board for the outside there. It's kind of funny, is a couple of days there when I was first working on it out there, about 3 or 4 days ago, I think Thursday and Friday, it had chilled off and I had to actually go in and dig out my wool vest to wear outside here. Saturday it was overcast all day. It had quit raining, but it warmed up enough that I could actually worked up a sweat. I was working on the cover over the basement entrance because I found a leak in there and I had to fix that. And I actually sweated 2 t-shirts out there. And then yesterday up here on the lift working on the gable end there, it was really hot. It was t-shirt weather. I even took my hat off for a while. It was pretty warm up there. The sun shining, about 60 degrees, better than 60 degrees out here in the sun, which is pretty good for mid-October. And last night, about 1 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that, cat wanted in, the dog wanted out. Went outside with the dog because she just wanted to go out and get a drink, and she was coming back in, so I just went out with her. And the front was starting to come through, or was coming through, so the wind was blowing about 25 miles an hour or so. And it hadn't started raining yet, but it was warm. It was warmer at 1 o'clock in the morning than it was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday with the sun shining. So it's cooled off now. It's back down to probably mid-50s or so. Forecast says it's going to be down into the high 30s for the evening temperatures and mid-40s in the daytime temperatures for the next few days. But last year, this time of the year, we were shoveling snow, so that's quite a difference.